members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the clergy, and especially the Garifuna delegation who have traveled here to be with us today. And good morning to everyone who is listening near and far. As you may have discerned by now, I do have a problem with my voice, but hopefully I'll make it through. It is an honor to be here, as I have been for the past several years, to celebrate National Heroes Day. In addition to the formal ceremony here today, at this revered spot at Dorsetshire Hill, there will be other activities, principally in Greg's and in Fancy. We look forward to participating in those as well. For those of you who are just taking the day off to stay at home or to go to the beach, make it meaningful, because today is a special day. This national holiday is a time to pause and to take the opportunity to reflect, both from a personal standpoint and in a national way, on the journeys that we have undertaken singularly and together this year. And it gives us a moment to look forward as well as to how we can continue to build our beautiful country. We have battled through many challenges, many challenges in recent times. Nevertheless, we have much to celebrate and to be thankful for. We have life. We have family and friends. We have community. We have our beautiful country. Most of all, we have the grace and the mercy of God. But though we may be consumed with our own trials and challenges, we cannot forget the great sorrow that our forebears lived and witnessed over 2 centuries ago. That is the exile and the near extermination of the Garifuna people. And lest we are tempted to absolve the perpetrators of this monstrous crime by saying it was a different age and a different time, and that morals and mores excused and accommodated such actions, we should think again, for it was not so long ago. It was not the Dark Ages. In Europe, it was a time of enlightenment and progress, of science and art, a time of fervent and burgeoning Christianity, which taught us that we are all God's children and must love one another as we love ourselves. So the servants of British imperialism knew what they were doing when they hunted the Garifuna warriors and stabbed them into submission. They were following a deliberate plan. When they decided that the Garifuna could not be trusted to truly surrender to them, though they had come with awesome weapons and an unquenchable lust for conquest to take away their land and vanquish their sovereignty, they banished them from their homeland, first to Baliso, then to Roatan, and ultimately to Central America. That much of the history we know. That part is painfully familiar to all of us. But do we know how the people who were forcibly marooned on Baliso lived during those terrible months that they were there as captives? Can we even begin to imagine what a mother might have said to her child under those terrible conditions when there was no food to eat, no water to drink, and death stalked them all? Can we even imagine what a father said to his wife and children to console them and to give them hope when he had no land to farm, could not go to sea to catch fish, and therefore could not provide for his family? And can we imagine what it must have been like to suddenly go from a fierce assertion of liberty and sovereignty to being trapped on a barren island, their home in sight, but unable to go back because hostile ships patrol the waters and would soon take them further away from their homes, never to return? Like the vastness of the universe, it is unimaginable. And thus, the crime committed, the injustice done to these people, our ancestors, is on the same scale. As such, can there ever be atonement? I think not. But that does not mean that we do nothing. We speak now of legally acquiring Baliso and making it protected heritage of our nation. That time has finally arrived, and it is welcome. We speak also of reparations for the harm that was done. That too is welcome. But of course, the declaration of Baliso as a heritage site is not really a cause for celebration. Celebration would not be the right way to describe it. For there is too much suffering and pain underlying that act of recognition and preservation. There is too much death and sorrow on Baliso, too many graves of our captive ancestors. And we do not celebrate in a graveyard. Rather, the preservation of Baliso would be a solemn act of recognition of that pain and suffering. And it will be a promise that they will never be forgotten, and that we will forever mourn those who suffered and died in the genocide. We owe it to them because it is upon their struggle and their indomitable spirit that we now continue to build our nation. The obstacles we confront today may appear different, but the struggle is the same for human dignity and a people's sovereignty. Every year at this time, we here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we reflect on this tragedy. But for the descendants of the exiled Garifuna, it is far more than a cause for reflection, as we have heard today. It is a great sorrow, a sense of loss, a yearning to return, to make a journey that their tormentors, the tormentors of their forebears, never intended them to make. But you're here today. A week ago, I was in Trinidad, and I met a gentleman who said to me that he was from Belize, and we were there as part of a meeting. And he knew I was from St. Vincent, and the first thing he wanted to tell me is that he was Garifuna, that he had never been to St. Vincent, but he was hoping to make the journey soon. I hope I can welcome him when he arrives. Beyond the monuments and the sacred places we properly recognize, there are the lessons we have learned from our Garifuna ancestors that may help us on the way forward. The first is this: no matter the hardship, persevere. Keep moving forward. Think about it. How did just over 2,000 people, forced to settle in a strange and hostile land, survive with their culture, and language to be here today, over 200 years later. That is a story yet to be properly told, to be celebrated, not just by Garifuna, not just by the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but by all of humanity. It must be told, for it exemplifies courage and heroism beyond measure, and that can only inspire us. In our daily lives today, we have been able to rely on the efforts and kindness of everyday heroes up and down this country, who too often go unnoticed, unheralded, but who in important ways walk in the footsteps of Chatouillet and our Garifuna ancestors. Today, as Vincentians, we look to them for inspiration as we seek to protect what we have and strive for better. In true Chatouillet spirit, we recognize that we have a duty to do much more, to build on his legacy for generations to come. Our country has faced so much over the past few years, overcoming COVID and responding to the eruption of La Soufrière and the subsequent difficulties, the high rate of homicides, the ongoing hunt for jobs for so many of our young people. For me, and for so many across the land, Chatouillet's spirit and example gives us strength to push forward. Even when we do not see a light at the end of the tunnel, we keep moving forward. We have seen people, everyday heroes throughout our communities, step forward to do what is needed when they are called upon. They don't have big names. They don't boast about what they have done. They may not even recognize it as heroism. They are members of our communities, our churches, our workplaces, members of our families who work to make our lives and our country better. The public servants who work tirelessly to ensure that we get the services we need to keep our lives on track, to make sure that the services are provided so that people get paid, that the businesses can import and export goods, that our roads and infrastructure get the attention that they need. Our police officers who do so much with so little, yet if we are to turn the tide against crime and violence in our society, we expect them to do more. They put themselves at risk to protect our safety, and to them we are grateful. To the teachers, the unsung heroes of our communities throughout our country, they are building a future for our nation every day when they spend time with our children. They inspire our young people and give them the knowledge and the skills to build lives here for themselves and to strive for a better future. Without teachers, there would be no heroes of tomorrow. The relentless work of the farmers in sun and rain to put food on our table and to provide goods to export, they do not get enough praise. Our fisher folk who in rough seas go out day after day so that we can have food to eat, they have been neglected for too long and not given the respect and the support that is their due. Let us recognize that they too are, in their way, heroes. Business owners who have the energy and the drive, the zeal to set up their own businesses, generating employment and opportunity in our country for all our people. They build a private sector needed for our economy to grow and for our country to prosper. They too are heroes. Nurses, doctors, and other health professionals working every day, even often in challenging conditions, to protect our health of all our people, young and old. The volunteers who help manage sports events, who help take care of others, who do things that we take for granted in our communities. They are indispensable to us. They don't always hear that from us. So let us tell them. They can literally save lives. In my own community not too long ago, there was a terrible plane crash in which 4 people died. Without thinking of themselves, local divers and other volunteers went into the sea to try to save lives, and failing that, to recover the bodies of those who had perished. When all is said and done, the acts of all these everyday heroes are centered around making our country a better place, making it worthy of our ancestors who dreamed of it. Let us look with optimism to the rest of this year and beyond, in the spirit of Chattoyer and our Garifuna ancestors. Let us not be deterred by the odds, even if they may appear insurmountable. We have our history to give us the courage to persevere and the belief in ourselves to triumph. Remember, just over 2,000 Garifuna people landed in Roatan and Central America. They were shipped off there. Against unimaginable odds, they have not only survived, they have flourished. That is what we can and must celebrate. They are part of us. As I part, I just give a little story. My children and grandchildren should not grow up as ignorant as I was of this important part of our history. 30 years ago, when I was in Canada, a friend of mine came to me. He worked for an NGO. He brought a dictionary, a Garifuna dictionary, that his organization had sponsored. He was so proud of it. He brought it to me to give me a copy, to show the work that he had done on behalf of our people. I'm ashamed to say I didn't even know how to thank him, because I did not appreciate the importance of what he had done. Now I know better because I have educated myself. We must take that effort to educate our children so that they do not end up that way as well. And of course, we must also continue to pray for peace in the world. In the wars in the Middle East, in Ukraine, the difficult times in politics in Haiti, and of course, the disagreements between our brothers, our friends in Venezuela and Guyana, that we will have peaceful outcomes. To our Garifuna brothers and sisters on this hallowed spot, thank you for coming. Thank you for helping us to repatriate our culture. Welcome home, brothers and sisters. Our future is brighter together. I wish all of you, everyone listening to my voice here and afar, a happy and peaceful day. May God bless you and your families. Thank you.
Attention all thrill seekers and NDP supporters. Get ready for an Easter adventure like no other. Join the NDP South Central Wynwood constituency for a boat ride to Beckway on Easter Sunday, March the 31st. All aboard the MV Admiral and enjoy music by a popular DJ, stunning views, and great company. Tickets are only $50 and available from the constituency division members or the NDP headquarters. Don't miss the boat. Set sail at 8:30 a.m. sharp. Get your tickets now and make memories to last a lifetime. This event is brought to you by the NDP South Central Wynwood Constituency Division. Get ready for the ultimate Easter Monday Beach Splash. The annual East Kingstown Easter Monday Beach Splash is back with a bang. Join the Honorable Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble and the thousands of others on Monday, April 1st, for a day of non-stop fun on Sign Hill Beach.
I'm in a party mood.
There'll be lots of food and drinks to enjoy, as well as activities for the entire family. So pack your sunscreen and bring your friends and family for a day of unforgettable memories. Don't miss out on the most anticipated event of the year, the annual East Kingstown Easter Monday Beach Splash, happening all day on Sign Hill Beach. See you there.
Took me anywhere.
This blessed country has seen its best days. Just look at it now, it's torn to pieces.
21 minutes after the 11 o'clock, you're listening to rebroadcast, replay, if you want to put it that way, of Dr. Friday's presentation, National Heroes Day. That's last Thursday. All right, that was a presentation we give you back. We'll have him live and direct, Rory, sometime the program, as you know. I just want to quickly comment. Remember, we have the lines open until Dr. Friday get there. But I just want to comment also on, some things that was happening in St. Vincent and Grenadines that I see that Eyewitness News have an article. It's entitled Coast Guard Officers Quitting. Too much pressure. And the article goes like this: the public sector in St. Vincent Grenadines continue to lose trained people to other countries, with the Coast Guard becoming the latest victim. All right, the man you have here, Eyewitness didn't have that, they have the name, spoke publicly about these issues again this week, 6 months after an opposition politician called for action to stem the tide. The situation at Coast Guard is such that the commandant, John Henry, flagged it in a report to Gonzalez, who is also Minister of National Security. Yes, who is also Minister of National Security. Let me continue a while before. As one source familiar with the situation told Eyewitness News that the country should brace for the exit of even more of its Coast Guard officers. There's just too much pressure. And if they ask the officers why they quit, they would know. There are still more officers who are planning to leave, the source told Eyewitness News. So we have exodus from the Coast Guard, exodus from the police force also. And if you go up and you go north, so you go to places like Antigua and the BVI Islands, those places up there, you'll find a lot of incendies. And if you check the army, a lot of our young persons, especially trained persons, are taking that exit. And the reasons were clear, spoken of on many occasions by the New Democratic Party. And, I remember one time when Major referred to that incident and said a lot of persons are taking their belly make boat, so to speak, tailing it out there. And if you speak to a lot of young persons, they will tell you up front, they can't make it here. I spoke to two persons last week, and they were saying as soon, they were in a level college, and they say as soon as they finish, they're gone. Because nothing happening here. They have friends who came out, can't get employment, and so forth. And when we picture that with being one of the lowest paid set of persons in the world, it's in the world? Okay, in the world, in English-speaking Caribbean and around, or in the Western Hemisphere, we one of the lowest paid. then you expect that all of these factors, plus the fact that the New Democratic Party is saying jobs should be merit-based, meritocracy, and the guys we have here are saying it should be party-based. Then once Deputy Prime Minister say must own the campaign and own the jobs. And you know that one of the criteria, in fact, the main qualifications for employment in St. Vincent and Grenadines is to have a party card of the ULP, to be a member or one of those critics, vocal critics, and you will get that job. So we have all of these things, and it's not surprising that's happening. I'm gonna try, I don't know, I have never gotten the WhatsApp thing organized. Let me see if I could get it. Good morning. All right, not getting that. All right, so let me take this call quickly and I come back. So let me take the call. Good morning, Newstimes.
Hello, is this SVG Public Service Union?
No. This is Nice Radio.
Oh, my apologies.
That's all right.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Yes, so we know a lot of persons are leaving St. Vincent. So they're running away. And I want to remind you of something, and then I'll comment as we go ahead. Let me say to the person on the WhatsApp, I don't know. I'm just not getting that connection. I'll have to sort that out and get you back in and see how we get that.
We're going to look at the world's fastest dying countries and the reasons for their declining populations. Number 12, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is an island in the Caribbean. It's known as a great spot to visit, with U.S. News and World Report even naming it the third best travel destination for honeymooners to visit in the Caribbean. And with its white sandy beaches, clear blue waters, and coral reefs, it's not hard to see why. However, while there may be plenty of people visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there are not as many people who actually live there. In fact, the population of this island is only about 104,000, and the number of inhabitants is declining. Between 2010 and 2020, for instance, St. Vincent and the Grenadines saw an average population change of negative 0.44%, equating to a net loss of over 4,000 people. That decline has continued today, with a negative 0.37% and negative 0.24% population change in 2022 and 2023, respectively. The reason for this is primarily because of a negative net migration, with more people leaving the country than moving to it. And when you dig a little deeper into the state of the economy, it's pretty clear why people are leaving. In fact, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of the poorest countries in the Eastern Caribbean, with high unemployment rates being a fixture in its economy in recent years. In 2021, for instance, the unemployment rate was a whopping 21.6%.
So we have that because people are leaving St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I don't know what, where the man we have here seem to think that the Coast Guard is any different. A lot of Vincentians are leaving St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They're looking for greener pasture because things just not working out. We have high unemployment among young people, and we have high unemployment generally. And as we say, people are figuring we do not get a fair deal. We do not get a fair deal under this administration. And unless you have the party card, you can't get a job. But what is interesting is that the majority of persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are voting it, support the New Democratic Party. So right away you are saying that the majority of persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines under this government will not get jobs because they are taking care of a few persons. They're not creating, there is nothing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that's happening that has created any mass employment. They talk about road work, and now they are jumping up and down behind Sanders to create 500 jobs. Welcome jobs, but low paying jobs if you take it. So this government, for 23 years, under this government, we have mass exodus out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially among educated and young people. So we just out of National Heroes Day, but we have a situation with a brain drain. And that is a term that for years, it was one time we spoke about, that was the biggest issue in the Caribbean, brain drain. Everybody is now happy and good. We in St. Vincent and the Grenadines still discussing brain drain, because a majority, when we have thousands of persons leaving school and there are no jobs, there are no jobs for them, and they leave school, and this government, you have to know somebody who knows somebody to get employment. Persons are leaving in droves. When they get a little experience in the police force or in the Coast Guard, there are greener pastures in the rest of the Caribbean islands and also in the army. So persons go there also. Sometimes you miss some people, army, they're gone. Or they're gone. I went to Antigua the other day and I met two guys. One of them was working in a security firm, the other was a police. I did not even miss them. I said to them, "What are you doing here?" And they asked me, and I said, "Well, I was up here for some football tournament." And I asked them, "What they doing here?" One tell me, he up here 6 years. Another one tell me he here 4 years. They say, they ain't going back. They ain't coming back, St. Vincent, because the money they're making in Antigua working, they say less stress, better pay. They're not coming back to St. Vincent and Grenadines. In fact, one unmarried and he settled long up there. And that is what happening to us because of the climate that this regime has created that is not conducive to young people and the well-being. So there are exodus out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I don't understand why this guy is saying there's a crisis in terms of people leaving Coast Guard. There's a crisis of people leaving St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And just like in all other aspects where we have this negativity, just like how people running from Haiti and Cuba, they're running from St. Vincent the same how. They are running from St. Vincent the same how. First boat, first plane, gone. First boat, first plane, they're gone. The only good thing we can say about this is that a lot of them remit money to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, whether it's from the Caribbean or the diaspora from England or the army. So at the end of the day, we have income coming in. But a lot of them would love to be in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, working in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and able to sustain themselves in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, instead of having to highlight it out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay, that caller seemed to have left us. Instead of highlighting it out. The New Democratic Party speak to all these things in terms of job creation, in terms of the pillars for development of the economy. You heard Dr. Friday in his presentation speaking to the fact of heroes, the farmers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and agriculture, pillar of development. Those are the heroes. Spoke about sports and the persons who assist in these areas and our sports persons culture persons, heroes, development, new economy as we continue. Let me take this call and see. Good morning, Newtimes.
Yeah, excuse me. Good morning.
Good
As
morning. Good morning.
usual, I love to still participate in our democracy. I love to participate, I repeat, in our democracy. Don't know how long this democracy will last because it would appear to me that so many things being said are so wrong or in the negative. Negative vibes, negative vibes, negative vibes. For a little while now, I am aware that even within the Caribbean, Vincentians are migrating to other parts of the Caribbean, especially to the north, where the salary is much higher. But the funny thing about it is how this government, after being in office for 23 years, and they had big celebration for that and all of that not so long ago. It's how well what I was going to say there, let me just say that it is all coming to an end. I would hope that it is all coming to an end. Because I myself, I never worship any politician to the extent that I have to always be behind them, begging them, and all of that. But I know I am not stupid. I think I'm sensible enough to have observed over the years what has been going on, and I've kept myself active in the politics of this country. So no fly-by-night politician or no politician could come and fool me for that matter. Because I understand what's going on. And I personally have been affected. Yes. Like I said, where I was brought up to, my parents, God bless their soul, both of them are resting somewhere. And they never wanted us to be dependent or having to behave like, when people just can't do better, you have to make yourself papi show for politicians. So I have to say it like I see it and as I understood it over the years. For real. For real. And so what's going on? What's going on today? I nearly forget to make the point. This under the current Prime Minister, we hear him talking of how we are progressing. We have made so much progress. But that's just window dressing if what he's talking about as progress is just window dressing. And as a matter of fact, I think the beneficiary out of all of this has been the Prime Minister himself, because after being in the political wilderness for years, he come back and he has come back and enjoyed a really long, and I would say successful for him, 5 terms in office. And that's why he believes and he feels confidently that he can win a 6th term in office. But that's left to be seen. But I mentioned that because we as a people, we have got to measure our progress as he talks about progress. Yes, some of us because of our own doing may not make the progress that we could make. In other words, if you are not, sometimes you have to blame yourself for your own lack of success, progress, or whatever it is. I am well aware of that, right? But the atmosphere that has been created in this country is one of a dependency syndrome. It's wonderful. I am no specialist as an economist and all of that. But there's basic economics right in your household. You know, if you have X amount of dollars and you just keep spending from it, what will happen? And you can't accumulate or you can't put anything back and so on, right? So you'll end up penniless or you end up a pauper. I'm just trying to bring home all of this in a practical way. And hence the reason why St. Vincent have so much poverty, poor people, and the politicians, especially the ULP administration, they are taking advantage of this. They are taking it and they are making a big issue out of this. That if they hand out something or do something, and you know, as though it's the biggest, they have done such a big task. So it's a warning, and I just mentioned this as a layman. I know I know a lot of people have to thumb the chest, beat the chest, and so on. But when all is said and done, if your people are not happy, one of these days something is going to happen. Something is going to happen, like what's happening in Haiti and wherever. Once the people are not happy and satisfied with their own economic well-being, their own, the state has to provide certain things and so on. But once everything is falling down, like in the health, look right now, I am an insulin dependent. I live off insulin. And I haven't heard any announcement, and like nobody, I guess I have to speak for myself and those who want me to speak for them. Insulin is keeping people like me alive. And there's been a shortage. I don't know if any official pronouncement has come from the government to tell us why there's no insulin for the people, for those of us who are insulin dependent. So that's another thing that we need to take note of. But I am just hoping that with all excuse me, with all what I'm hearing, that there could be a real change around, a meaningful change around. And I tell you, anybody, if there's that change in whoever is taking over, they can become complacent, lackadaisical. I will hope that they become all embracing and try to deal with the people's state in terms of how they live, how they are living, and make that difference. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. It's 16 minutes to the 12 o'clock hour, 16 minutes to the 12 o'clock hour. Somebody say they have to leave if they can't pay bills, food gone up, taxes. Them have to live from pity to pity. Sometimes they pay not on time and they end up having to pay late fee. Somebody saying that is one of the reasons why a person is leaving. But the hardship in St. Vincent and Grenadines is real. The hardship is real. And that's why, we have to pay homage, and we have to, as Dr. Friday quite rightly emphasized, the heroes, the teachers, the police, the nurses, the fisher folks, those persons, the sport persons, the caregivers, the civil servants, the farmers. Those are heroes of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who, because it's not easy to struggle in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to maintain life, a certain standard of life, as we see, because of the conditions in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And then you have to be careful, because you have to be careful how you talk, how you walk, what you say, because otherwise somebody who feel obligated, who has not benefited, feel that they still have this blind loyalty. And we must remind you, I see they have a list of failed promises from their manifesto. I really don't understand why one would want to publish a list of failed projects, failed promises at this time, 2024, after the election in 2020, to have to come in 2024 to say, well, boy, these are things that we should have done. But I want to remind you that what the man sick had to say, you know. I just want to remind you of that.
Ping pong, ping day.
Ah, boy.
Ping pong, ping day.
Up and down all over the country, campaigning for your party. Still I can't get a job to mind me family. Some members living high and mighty, they have money banking overseas. But I'm still living in poverty. I tired have to complain, so never me again. Running up in sun and rain, because I have nothing to show. After 5 in a row, nothing to show. So I can't go no more. No, I have nothing to show. After 5 in a row, please don't come knocking on my door. For the last 20 odd years, they say they care, but still the house in repair. Oh, I have nothing to show. Ralphie, nothing to show. Gomery, I have nothing to show. After 5 in a row, I have nothing to show. Soboto, nothing to show. Camelo, I have nothing to show. So time to pack up and go. Oh.
Ping pong, ping day.
Ah, boy.
Ping pong, ping day.
I tell them the next election, I'm not riding the wagon. And don't look for me in the polling station. Politicians only love the money. Once the bank book and their pockets heavy, they don't care about you and me. It took me a quarter century to come to reality. So I'm not voting ULP because I have nothing to show. After 5 in a row, nothing to show.
So nothing to show after 5 in a row. That's what the man saying. Nothing to show. And you know, I go back to, I see that the ULP organization released a list of projects that they say in their 2020 manifesto, which they claim that they have achieved. Well, I took a look quickly and I saw, for example, I see they're referring to a Curel Referral Hospital in Annisville. This is one of the things they promise over and over, and this promise only came about after the New Democratic Party unveiled their health policy and construction of new hospital facilities. They came up with this thing that they're going to build a referral hospital. I don't know if they turn the dig ground or they turn soil or whatever, because they're famous for that, but there is absolutely nothing to show about any hospital except a billboard up to say they're going to build a hospital. But they claim that is one of their achievements. They're claiming they had modern city at Annisvale is one of their achievements. I'm still waiting to the city. I know we have a lot of entertainment events down there on the tarmac, and I don't know if it's that they're referring to, but they're saying modern city. Where is the modern city in Annisvale? Nothing to show. And you know, these guys have the heart to mention one of their achievements, a tunnel under Cane Garden. I remember when back in them days, and Sesmaki had we had a shovel and a hoe or something. So they're going to turn soil to dig this tunnel under Cane Garden. These people put them back as one of their achievements. So I guess anybody could achieve, because you just need to have a lot of mouth, a lot of talk, and say, oh, I gonna go to the moon, I going to go to Mars, and then you could put that down as achievement simply because you spoke of it. There's no tunnel, there's no start of a tunnel. For years they've been saying that the people in Pole Yard, they're going to get them somewhere better. They're still there. They put that down as an achievement. They only putting down what they thought or they say they're going to do and put that as achievement. If everybody was to put down as achievement what they would like to do or promise to do, then everybody would be achievers. So a whole list of things. I think they're bragging about Parliament building that they're going to build. They spent $15 million, they claim. I think it's more than that, but they claim $15 million on the temporary, let me put that word in first, 15 million on the temporary Parliament building in Calico. I not a builder, but if you give me $15 million, I am sure, I am certain I could build at least 3 of the temporary building and still have money leave back to build a whole housing scheme. $15 million, you know, for the temporary Parliament building in Calico. And that is supposed to be an achievement. I wonder who advising. Well, it's obviously government. Nobody advised except the man advised himself. How could that be an achievement? Somebody, I don't know. The people of St. Vincent and Grenadines need to remove these persons as soon as possible. And you know what is amazing? After they made all this effort to allow Atley Hall to run down into the state it is now, they have that as one of the promises. Making Atley Hall project work. Now the New Democratic Party from day one, when they came in, you know, the ULP claimed that Atley Hall was riddled with corruption. They spent millions of Vincentian dollars trying to prove a point, and that point still ain't sharp yet. We waste money. They allow the facility to run down. One time we hear somebody rent it and supposed to pay rent every month. Up to now, not a cent received as far as I know. Then they had some other master plan, then they decided don't worth it. And not until the New Democratic Party points out that the Atley Hall project could have been rescued. I'm hoping that it's still alive. The New Democratic Party will try and see what could happen. But they allow it to run down. Now they're saying they're going to make Atley Hall project work. I don't understand it. It's quite obvious why we need psychiatrists in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because a lot of crazy people have to be out there. These guys, they're not thinking straight. They're not thinking straight. And I also remember when Dr. Friday spoke one morning, I can't remember which program it is, but I remember, I'll tax my brain, and spoke about the possibility that just like in other countries and in the developed world, that we need to probably explore, because you have limited land space, the possibility of high-rise apartments for people of St. Vincent and Grenadines. I remember them on their program laughing and having fun. Now I see they put down apartment building at at Pembroke. It's quite obvious when they run out of ideas. All of the ideas that they supposedly rubbish from the New Democratic Party, they have all of them now as, oh, we promised these in our manifesto. This is 2024. You promised something in 2020. You list 17 or so projects that you promised that you have not delivered. So how could you write those down as achievement? Where is the hospital? Where's the modern city? Where's the tunnel? Where's the home for the poor yard residents? All these things will have to wait until election, which is soon you're going to see some effort. $15 million in a parliament building out Calico. I would like to see somebody value that and tell me that worth $15 million. The Atley Hall project that you allowed to rotten down. And then Dr. Friday's idea of high-rise apartment that will be needed because you have limited land space for the young people who coming up, so they'll have these things. You come up with the idea now. You know what? Not a thing to show for 5 in a row.
Time to settle this score. No consideration for the Calypsonian. So time to change the plan, because I have nothing to show.
Nothing to show, nothing to show. We're going to take the break. It's 3 minutes to the 12 o'clock. We're going to take the break. When we come back, we should be joined by Dr. Friday at some point. So we're going to take the break. For those of you following on the live stream, we're going to end the stream here. We'll start back with a new one. And hopefully we'll have Dr. Friday in